Hello everyone. Welcome. Thank you for stopping by tonight for our first game of The Lady in Red, a Call of Cthulhu investigation story, maybe an adventure. Let's load in and maybe have a little bit more of a formal introduction. You don't need a directionless voice telling you what's happening, when I can at least provide some direction and a face. Aha, here we go. Load in. We'll get a little bit of music playing in the background. There we go. So, howdy to you all. A couple brief notes for those of you who are in the audience. While I will do my best to keep an eye on chat, and if there's something that that I see or that needs addressed. However, the priority for these broadcasts is to make sure that I'm interacting with the players and we're delivering the story. So I will glance over and if they see something, because not everyone may be talking all the time, they can let me know as well. But you are welcome to have comments from the Peanut Gallery. You're welcome to talk about your experiences with the game, or ask questions, or talk amongst each other. I very much encourage that. I want this to be fun, participatory. You can react with the various emojis that you have unlocked here, and we're going to be going for a couple hours here tonight, introducing everyone into the game, then introducing the game. And this is going to be part 1 of 3. The title of this session is Dust Devils. So hello and welcome to you all, and I suppose we'll get into the shoutouts. Oh, I actually have one note. Because the prize capsules are back after Saturday, I can't do those on Tuesdays. So any sort of special stuff like that that you want to interact with, I appreciate it, and I can draw that stuff for you during the workshop. But for our broadcasts, I tend to be very focused on the players and presenting. And the other things, as I teach Call of Cthulhu for the rest of the week here in the workshop, that's a lot more casual. We can have back and forth. I can try and specifically answer questions and blah, blah, blah. Well, thank you. Oh, actually, do I have my, I didn't have the alert box on. So thank you, Fluffy, for the re-up, but you didn't get the fanfare. Yeah, the alert box was,
sad trombone.
Just for your player. I'll
Especially as wares, if you have coin.
So many months.
So many months. Thank you. Oh, all right. Well then, Hatter. Yep. So for tonight, it's not workshop, but I'm sure you could pick things up along the way. And if it matters to any of you out there, this is my first time running Call of Cthulhu. So I may very well not make a proper call, or things could be done differently. But such is as it is, and I want to play this system. I want to experience it. And hopefully this encourages a great many of you to step up or step outside your old comfort zones of other role-playing games. And if you haven't given Call of Cthulhu a try, well, hey, watch me do it, and then don't do the things that I shouldn't be doing. It's that easy.
It's okay, I will be gentle.
Actually, this is a good segue. Ivalon here, who's playing Claudia, is effectively the co-keeper, just with no knowledge of the story, but will help me. Will be the bumpers to my bumper bowling here as I keep things rolling down towards the inevitable collapse of hopefully all 10 pins. So Ivalon, hi and howdy. Welcome. Thank you very much for being a part of the game here. And not even just that. I mean, if we want to talk about lore, Ivalon has been a part of this channel for a good long while, and along with Dark Wolf, was one of the first 2 mods for this place, and he stepped up and helped me on a very busy night. In fact, a fateful night. I believe that's also where we met Fluffy. So our destinies have been woven. But anyway,
I am a great old one waking back up.
and you actually are the keeper of the lore. In this case, the keeper of the rules. Is there anything? Would you like to give me, or would you like me to give you a shout out? Is there a broadcast saddle? Are you hopping back into that, or anything you'd like to bring up? You do play in other channels too. You're welcome to talk about that.
Yeah, I guess because of community crossover, you guys might have seen my my mug on Derek's channel. It's really the only other broadcast game I'm a part of. I do want to start streaming again. I used to do it, but to my great shame, I have not yet this year jumped into the swimming pool yet. I'm sort of on the fence. My main concern is that Twitch forces ads on viewers now, which I
If you're
don't want.
affiliate.
Yeah, if you're affiliate.
Yeah. So I've been toying with the idea of just renouncing my affiliate status to stream, because...
Freedom!
Yeah. So we'll see how that turns out.
And if you do, obviously we'll give you a shout out. And if for all of you out there who are watching, for those who do broadcast or are part of the community, we do interact through Discord. So if you hop in there, you can get those live notifications, and not just about me, but about the others here too when they do that.
I'm apparently a big brain on Maddie's Discord, even though I wouldn't describe myself that way. I'm one of the mentors who help people out. If you have questions.
And thank you for doing so. Let's pop up. Well, actually, now the segue from you into Quingard here is he was the co-GM of the Cyberpunk game that started the entire year of broadcasting these alternative RPGs.
Full circle.
Yeah, we're coming right back around here, and so Quingard, you're going to be piloting Dr. Patrick Crane here tonight. And is there anything? Now, we're going to meet your character, so don't worry too much about that. But is there anything in particular that you'd like to talk about you, or a shout out, or something that you would like to say as you before we slip into the realm of Oklahoma?
I occasionally stream. You'll see me, few and far between. It is at @demon_91 or whatever my thing is. Used to be Quingar for the longest time. It's inside joke of the channel. Outside of that, I'm in tons of communities. Matt has an awesome community, so I branched out from here and played in some games with coffee and did. I've been over in Derek's channel, watched Derek's channel quite a bit, so enjoy being here. Can't wait to see what we're doing.
Alrighty. Keeping on moving down the line. I guess your segue, Fluffy, is that you played Zeke in Cyberpunk, and now we're meeting. I
certainly did.
We're totally meeting Zeke's great grandfather, right? Is that?
Probably not. Probably not. I don't think there's any relation between the two. But they're both from well. See, that's the thing. Kenny's not even from Oklahoma. He's from Colorado. Zeke's from Oklahoma. So, in the certainly very likely outcome that we uncover all the secrets of the old ones and do not die horribly or go insane, Candy will no doubt settle down, start an honest, law-abiding family, and one of his descendants will be seen. But otherwise, they're probably not related.
That's an excellent wish list that you just put out there.
And neither of them is related to Bright.
Yeah.
Bright exists in the world that I run now.
I think we're pretty sure about that one.
So, speaking of now, Coffee, I guess you now wear several hats then, as you have been a co-GM for other productions here. You've also played in Cyberpunk and in the Chroma Company D&D game.
An artist on your channel.
You've done art such as this wonderful layout, as well as a lot of other emotes and things that you'll see around the place. You are running the sequel campaign to D&D over on your channel, and that's even when you're not playing your Vampire Chronicle, taking place in Oklahoma's neighbor of Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that about sums up all of the hats that I have except for my day job. Ayo. But yeah, I'm Coffee Cat. I am frequently everywhere. So if you ping me in one of the Discords that I'm in, I'm more likely to see what you're talking to me about. Because I'm a cast member in Derek's VTM game. I run my own VTM game. I run a D&D game. I'm a cast member here now, both in the past and today, and do a lot of art for this channel. Have done a lot of art for this channel over the years, and so that me.
It sounds salacious, but you really get around.
Hey. That's what I do.
Well, we've met the players. We're hopefully working out some jitters. And in all honesty, everyone, look, I have been a nervous wreck leading up to this. Not just because I haven't run before, or it's not like broadcast jitters. It's like with anything, you're approaching something new. You know, you want it to be a good show, a good presentation. Anything can happen. And I'm kind of that dominant personality control freak, and I realize that everything can't be in my control, and it's an eternal struggle. So watch me writhe and squirm and sweat as I do at least a halfway decent job of presenting whatever this lady in red is. I don't know. It sounds kind of eye-catching in a way. And so how we're going to do this for those of you out there, and remember, I will watch chat. I may not be able to be interactive because especially, I have to be responsive to the cues of the players or to be the consequences to the actions that they take. So talk amongst yourselves, and if y'all need something, I'll try and keep an eye open, but I won't be able to be too reactive back and forth. So we are going to meet the characters in this first part by giving them each a little spotlight that is going to allow us to become a little comfortable with them, get to know some of their personality, some things they're capable of doing, and all roads are going to lead to Oklahoma, it would actually seem, not so much Rome. Now, as the kind of disclaimer, or at least the note that you saw in the lobby for the channel here, our game is taking place in October of 1936 in the great state and the rather newly minted, in the grand scheme of things, state of Oklahoma. And while I would hope that the events that take place here are not in our realm, I would not wish to inflict that on you all. Obviously, we are in a place and a time that is not almost 100 years ago. Oh my gosh. Wow, saying that out loud. Oh my gosh. I almost feel like I'm just gonna like wither and like blow away on the wind or something. So this is a Call of Cthulhu. Of all the other types of horror games, like Alien RPG and Vampire and such, this is probably closer to the PG-13-ish end, as a lot of it is about investigation or can horrible things happen? Yes. Things here are not going to get into anything more than what you might find in in an R-rated movie. Even then, I'm not necessarily expecting to describe every loop of intestine that falls out of Claudia for some reason. I will leave some of that stuff to your all's imagination.
Confidence.
But this is a different age and a different place, and to draw us in, there are things that have happened in history. For example, the dust storms here. This is the era of the Dust Bowl during the Depression here in the United States, and some causes and effects of that. We're at the end of Prohibition. There's a lot that has happened. World War I is finished. World War II is getting there, and this is it's a contentious time. Oklahoma had a lot of things going on for it. It's not necessarily just some sleepy place that's that really has nothing except a footnote in the pages of history. And in particular, while our investigators we may meet could hail from elsewhere, we're going to find that our story, as at least we open up here, is going to be taking place in Supply, previously and now known again as Fort Supply, which was originally established before the Panhandle and the land rush. And we're going to be heading to the little town of Supply, Oklahoma, which I believe in our current day and age might have about 300 people in it. And maybe it's grown a little bit since then, but it's pretty much been around there, as that was a staging area. It was a marketplace of sorts for people who were getting ready to move over into the big expansion. Being the hat of Texas and all. And, there's a lot around this historically, economically, politically, and any other kind of alley that you want to put on there. So welcome, everyone, to Oklahoma. And I hope that you enjoy your stay here. Of course, if you're watching and not so much being the player, you can be a little bit more relaxed than others. Though, maybe of everyone who is relaxed, we can start out here with Timothy. Now, Timothy, you are in a car, and you are in Oklahoma. Why? Of all places, would you be in Oklahoma?
Well, I was born here. It's not unusual for a guy like me to come from small towns, but went to college at the University of Oklahoma. Spent time at the war, and now I'm here. Well, I say that, but been doing a lot of studying of things of a weird nature. Always had a fascination for the odd thing. It's kind of goes into a lot of things that go on about why it was that I enlisted in the first place, but that all kind of culminated in the fact that now I have a bit of a cushy job as a university professor at the university I studied at, and so here I am.
Is there anything about your service in World War One that you want to bring up?
Well,
As you're
war
going over
sucks.
your home soil here, any memories or flashbacks or?
Well, it all just kind of sucked. Spending time in trenches and then being brought out of the trenches to do this job because, God forbid, I'm an intelligent man. Found out that I like weird things, and weird things is what they wanted me to research, so I did. Did my time. Had it end abruptly, but we'll talk about that some other time. Came home, but the one person I think that is on my mind the most is Nurse Jody from back in England.
Ah.
She was sweet. She was nice. She took care of me when I was laid up. And I ride her every now and again to show my appreciation, show her that she ain't alone. Even if we're half a world away. She writes me back. I just got a letter from her not 2 days ago, and I sent her a letter before I started driving out to supply. Because the university's got me looking into something over there. I don't even know what yet. I guess I'll find out when I get there.
And where are you headed? In your automobile with a head full of memories and also a couple hopes and dreams floating around in there too.
Well, I just put that letter in a post box here in the city. It's a long drive, so it's gonna take me a bit to get there, but I'll see the sights, what sights there are in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma. All the fields all look the same.
You know, for the most part they have, although at least for this time of year, there's still a lot of, well, maybe not crops per se out in the fields. It is autumn, you know, it is October here, and there is still maybe some harvesting to do, but especially in the wake of all that dust and dirt that's been blowing around, and I mean the storms are still predicted to come too. Hopefully you don't end up like what you've what you've seen others get into here. A lot of rumors about why that might be. Things from just the farmers are too successful to the farmers are ignorant to, it's actually just it's an ancient curse on the land for everything that's going on. For as much as you just fought in a war between, other nations across the Atlantic, there's still a lot of fighting and strife that goes on here. But well,
To put some food on their table, that's for sure.
in the wake of this, at least some of the farmers, at the behest of, well, either just talking to each other or, the federal government has really been stepping up lately, trying to get public works out, and is getting many more fingers in the pies of people, for better or worse. There's maybe some sort of a soil conservation going on, or at least a way to try and preserve, to keep too much of the snow blown in the winter, and well, whatever these dust storms are, from kicking up in the big transitory springtime and autumn. So you're still seeing, maybe the corn has been plucked off, but a lot of husks of things, a lot of wheat, and other remains of things that are still out in the field, just to keep something besides the open dirt. Things haven't been scythed down, or a lot of tractors out here too, farmers sharing, as they do, at least as they tend to do.
better than ripping them all up.
And
I've always been intrigued about this whole curse thing about the dust, though.
well,
I'm not exactly a hugely religious man, but I always did enjoy a good folk tale.
you have picked up on things here and there. You're certainly a man of education. I'll tell you what. Why don't we tap into your education here? And you are allowed the very first roll of this game. There's two different approaches that you can take to your wanderings and connections, or maybe just the revelation of information. Now you're pretty good in history, and you're solid in anthropology. Two things can have some overlap, but they have their own different directions. I'll let you pick between the two. Is there one that you would like to roll for in order to get some extra information, or maybe just have something relevant pop up to mind?
As much as I am, I have a lot of knowledge. Well, like at my disposal. It's always been interesting about the facts of history, but I've always thought about, what is the human connection to all of this?
Yeah.
What do people start to believe in when things like curses? Who believes in these curses? Why do they come up? Why do people think that? So the anthropological sort of a viewpoint is where I'm going with that.
All right then.
Anthropology.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Now,
Another 50-50 shot.
I will say in this circumstance, you're cruising and thinking, and you want that human connection. Maybe your mind is a little cluttered, just with thoughts now of the nurse across the Atlantic, of time in the war, but also your childhood back home, and just how things keep changing. I would allow you to push this roll. Maybe to concentrate a little bit harder. This is me more allowing or like giving you the circumstances if you choose to accept it. But this would be it's not a re-roll for any of you who are watching out there. It's not a re-roll in the instantaneous moment. This would be Timothy, or I don't know. Can I call you Tim, or do you have a nickname that you'd prefer? Or is Timothy how we're going to keep it?
Tim's fine.
Tim? Oh, thank you, Tim. So Tim, you can stay driving on the road here, or you can let your mind wander a bit. You can try and find your concentration, which would allow for another roll here as time passes and you're cruising along. However, it would simply be kind of a double or nothing, where it's that second chance to try and get that information, but there could be a penalty. In other systems, that would maybe be like a win at a cost or a similar sentiment. But that is going to be completely up to you. If you'd like to kind of get lost in your own mind and think about human connections and the not just the what happened in history, but the why because of the people, or if you just want to keep your eyes on the road and keep driving ahead, then you're welcome to do that.
It's not too terribly important at the moment. It might be relevant later, but I don't know. I suppose my mind got a little distracted by the fact that news from England's not been so great. So I'm worried about Jody.
Yeah.
It ain't like I had feelings for her, but she was a friend in a time of need.
We're only human after all, Tim.
I just worry she's gonna get caught up in it. And then if she gets caught up in it, what's that going to mean for the rest of us over on this side of the world? I just hope I don't have to go back.
All right, so you're not going back. You're just pushing ahead. You're driving and,
Yeah.
and dropping the issue. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Now you are on your way to supply, if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And what's bringing you there?
University. The dean. The dean of archaeology department came down to my office the other day. Give me some kind of thing he wants me to look into. Not entirely too sure what it is just yet. But something important going on, and well, he wanted his best artifact finder to go and find something. Maybe there's something important, maybe there's not. It's a vacation anyway, paid by the university, so why don't I take it?
Yeah, well, this is certainly a place of history, and you don't need to roll it to understand the basics. In fact, Fort Supply was just that. It was a fort back before Oklahoma was a state, when it was just the Indian territories, before the big land rush out across the panhandle. It was home to the U.S. Army that were keeping, depending on who you believe, keeping the place safe, keeping it secure, aiding the settlers, settling disputes, and also, the fort acted as a bit of a trading post, a market. And it wasn't just for the settlers, well, mostly Western Europeans like your nurse friend there, who came across on a boat and continued westward. Their grandparents may be on wagons, and, well, now you have automobiles, and trains are pretty ubiquitous too, especially trying to get out west. There's a lot of interaction, and so the possibility to find some recent history is still there. Soldiers have a tendency to bury secrets or keep secrets or get buried with them, let alone any of the people who lived or traded there, any of the natives of the place there. Of course, there's the five civilized tribes of Oklahoma, and a great many of them had dealings with the Army and among each other. Often going out, and if you grow up on a farm, finding some arrowheads or some other things. A lot of kids grew up as sort of amateur anthropologists themselves, imagining what life was like for the tribes of the plains here. So there is a lot of possibility. That might be very much what was hinted at, is to go digging around, and especially after Oklahoma became a state, and this was after the fort was decommissioned. The state poured a lot of money into such a small place and turned the fort into an insane asylum. The great people of Oklahoma needed a place to send those who needed that specialized kind of treatment, and what better way to do so than right out here. So there's even not just the history of statehood, but a lot of the development. And where there's state dollars that pour into places like mental institutions, they also pour into universities. And there might be some other sort of wheeling and dealing or a connection. As, people in these institutions might often have a story to share. And anthropology isn't always just trying to dig up arrowheads or, just dig around in the dirt. A lot of times it's also just talking to people and finding out what they believe.
How they work.
Yeah.
And supply also has a little bit of a meaningfulness to me too. As that asylum was relatively new as I got back from the war, and I might have spent a bit of short time there, so maybe it's a little sentimental. I don't think my dean knows that, but I don't talk about that very much. But when he was telling me I was heading up that way, well, let's see how much things have improved since I've been there.
All right. Well, you've kept your mind moving just as forward as your car is. You weren't too lost in thought here. But as nature does, especially in seasons of change like this, there are all kinds of critters that scamper about trying to fatten up before the snow starts flying. And one such critter seems to be making its way across the street in front of you. So in this instance here, Tim, you have a choice. You can hit it and keep going, or if you want to try and swerve, slam on the brakes to not hit this raccoon, then you can do so.
I don't know about that. I don't know about any of that, honestly, because I have some skill in automobiles driving, but I'm not great at it. I'm gonna try and put the brakes on it, see if I can't let this thing live.
Sure. Now, in this instance, because you weren't especially distracted here, it's coming up quickly, and you can at least have the opportunity to consider. Well, the car is bigger than the animal, than this raccoon. I could just hit it and keep going. But if you don't want to hit it, so what I'll do, and also as a way to continue, exploring the mechanics here, you can roll Drive Auto, but I will give you a bonus to it. Since you do have that time to think and to...
Well, I was aiming for a 40. Got a 54.
And then I think if you click bonus penalty, does that invoke it, or did you already do that?
It should.
Okay. So
Yeah,
there's your bonus of 8. Now in that case, that would bring you down to a 46. Unfortunately,
I'm aiming for a 40.
yeah. You were aiming for a 40. So. Is it you?
Wait.
Or what? Or wait, is the bonus replacing the bonus replaces the D10, doesn't it?
Yes. Let me just look that up. It replaces digit.
Oh, it replaces a digit. Okay, you get your choice of a digit. Okay, that makes sense why it's D10 minus
Take
1.
the benefit, use the tens die that yields the better or lower result.
Okay.
So unfortunately you rolled too high for...
For it to work at all. Yeah.
If you want something that's maybe more on the catastrophic side, I guess you could make that an 80 something, which would be like,
I really don't want to ding up my car.
Okay. Then Tim, let it not be said that I'm not a generous keeper. Is this going to be the animal or your car that's going to get the boo-boo?
Lordy.
You're not going 100 miles an hour down the road or anything.
No,
so
probably got a top speed of 55.
So,
Fast.
If that.
I think you have a couple decades also before seatbelts are invented, but we're going to leave that off to the side for now.
Or at least mandatory.
Or at least mandatory, yeah.
Poor raccoon. He's gonna get it.
All right. So, Tim, like you tried, and obviously we also don't have anti-lock brakes. So there's a screech and a behind you, and your tires are also kind of squealing here. Unfortunately, a little bit of red is mixed in with the black of the rubber left on the road from the wobbling. But you don't go off the road. Your car's still in good repair, and I don't know. I'll let you moralize on it. That ain't the first roadkill that you've seen on your trip. It probably won't be the last. It's just that one's yours.
And that the sight of blood makes me a little squeamish. Close my eyes for like 2 seconds while I'm on the road on a straight line. Catch my breath. And just put it out of my mind. It didn't happen. That ain't what happened. Somebody else's kill. It ain't mine.
When your eyes open from that moment of just collecting yourself, could have been just, the rush of light back in, or just the thrill of things. You swear for a moment there was a woman on the side of the road who looked at you just with a disapproving look on her face.
Do I see it in my mirrors?
Now that you're checking it, she's hard to miss. Might have been a young woman, dark hair, but she had on a red dress of some kind. You don't see her, but you close your eyes on the straightaway, but maybe the angle's not right, or she ducked off to the side of the road. Could be just a farmer's kid. It wasn't an elegant dress. It wasn't a ballroom gown or anything. Just I don't know, like a Sunday dress, like something kind of simple, and like a sundress or something.
Red's kind of a weird color to make a sundress out of, though.
But it did stand out here against the more muted colors here of mid to later October, even among the fields.
Still checking over my shoulder, see if I spot her again.
Oh, there's nothing. Could you have met someone like that in the war? You were thinking about the war a lot. Wait, is this what Jody looks like?
Jody's got dark hair. She's got light skin, but I don't remember her ever wearing a dress like that.
No, she had darker skin, more tan. Might have one of the five tribes' blood in her. So it's not Jody. Well, she's not there, and you didn't hit a person. It was only a raccoon.
Am I seeing things now? Better not be. I'll get none of that again.
There's a really good cafe in Supply, like a little diner. You're almost there. Why don't you just cruise in, and why don't you sit down, settle your nerves, just sit and think about it while you eat a sandwich or something along those lines.
Sandwich and a cup of coffee.
Well then, Tim, welcome to Supply. And I suppose we'll be seeing you later here, because there's someone else who's on the road, and I gotta pay that a little bit of attention to that person too. So you just sit back. You've done your part here, Tim. No more stress for you. Can I call you Candy, or is that really for Is that for people in the inner circle?
It's folks that like me and folks that don't like me calls me Candy. Everybody else calls me Henry.
Well, everyone does have a favorite, and certainly a candy that they don't like. I guess that's an appropriate nickname. Well, until I make my decision about you, I'll call you Henry, and then when I start calling you Candy, we'll know something's up.
And that candy that everybody either likes or doesn't like is candy. It is the season.
It is this. Was candy corn invented about at this time? I don't know.
I actually don't know. I don't know. I'll look it up.
Interesting. Well, if not, then you know what? You can at least have the idea. Man, wouldn't it be cool if there was a candy?
It was invented in the 1880s.
Oh, and there we go. Henry, you get candy corn at Halloween, and you get fruitcake at Christmas time. I guess it's everyone's favorites. So, Henry, why are you in Oklahoma?
Well, it's as good a place as any. Felt like it was just about time to head on out of Colorado. I've been living in Colorado Springs, where I was born, for quite some time, and I made a lot of good friends there. A lot of the wealthy folk and politicians and all that, and there is no clean politician in the world. All of them have hangers-on and entourage, and some of those hangers-on are not entirely on the up and up. That's kind of what I did. But, well, suffice to say, some things went wrong. One of my good friends got tangled up in some stuff that was just a little over his head, and one of my other good friends was the mayor, and we needed each other a lot, because he needed somebody that could give him what they like to call plausible deniability, and I needed someone that could give me what they call cover. And so, I scratched his back and he scratched mine, but then Roosevelt won the election, and now it's Democrats here, there, and everywhere, and all the Republicans are on the outs, and that was him, and he went back to being an architect, where he built a very nice hotel for another good friend of mine, who, anyway, this, that, and the other. Suffice to say, he couldn't protect me anymore, and he didn't need me anymore, and without that, we're still good friends. But anyway, my other good friend, a man by the name of Jack, who helped me out in all of my businesses, he got, like I said, he got in over his head, and he got himself in the pokey, and that didn't do, frankly, that didn't do either of us any good. So, anyway, just one thing led to another, and it was time for me to head on out. So I figured Oklahoma is an awful good place, because everything's in motion in Oklahoma. Everybody's moving from one place to another. Nobody knows me from Adam here in Oklahoma. Yeah, just exactly like that. So with everybody moving from one place to another, that's a good place to make a new life for yourself and get yourself, find your fortune, so to speak. So I figure I'll come down here selling jalopies. Everybody needs a car heading out to California, so I was on the way down. Maybe not to Oklahoma City, maybe someplace just a little bit east of there, maybe Tulsa, something like that. Anyway, I stopped in Woodward just to fuel up. I got a pretty nice car, Studebaker 6, one of the best cars you can get. It'll go 65 miles an hour on flat ground.
Ooh.
And I know. And I heard about this fundraiser going on, and I turned right around and headed back. After all, there's no place to raise funds better than a fundraiser.
As you are, well, you know what? This is a good place to cruise, because especially with that big highway project going from Chicago, a very upright city, very active also in the 20s, from what I understand. And then, talk about Cleveland too, but that great big highway that's starting over at Chicago, and rumor has it it's going to end all the way down in Los Angeles, California. But plenty of roads. A lot of works for that sort of stuff going on. But where people travel, so too. Do they... Well, they sell things, they break down, or a little bit of both. And as you are cruising down the road here, you do see what looks like a car not as good as yours, but there is a car that is broken down on the side. It's not, thankfully, trapped in a big old pile of dust and dirt, but it is in a similar state. Looks like some people are, well, the hood is up, and there's a guy at the front, arms crossed. He's kind of looking down into it. And there's a lady who is, well, let me see here. Let's have you see what you can do here. Not that one. Sorry, I'm trying to find the best appraisal at this distance. I suppose we'll well, you know what? I'll just describe it, and you can decide if you want to stop or move on. The choice is yours. There's no roll to this, but it does look like there's a guy kind of. He's looking down into a smoking, or it could be steam, maybe the radiator blew or something. But there is a lady who is stomping away. She would be heading in your, like, as you're going down the road. She'd be heading your way. She's not necessarily flagging anyone down, but the way she's walking and the look on her face, she's not very pleased at what's happening. Now, you're welcome to pass by. These look like probably locals. You know, nothing too fancy about the car or how they're dressed. But he does look a little confused, and she looks rather miffed. What would you like to do in this circumstance?
Okay, so, I mean, I'll probably stop, but you have to understand that I very rarely help anyone out of the pure goodness of my heart. The goal for me by stopping is to make connections. You know, see if there's somebody, like if I stop and help them, they might vouch for me with somebody else, and then I could parlay that into into some kind of advantage. It's really kind of you know, I'm stopping. Sure, I'll help them, but what's in it for me? That's kind of the intent.
Yeah. All right. Sure. No drive test is necessary here. You can slow down and pull over to the side. Though the question here would be, are you stopping to where the woman is walking away, or are you driving past her and pulling over more closer to the man in the car?
I would probably stop. I mean, so she's like walking back up the road. Is that kind of the?
Yeah. So
I would stop at whichever one I come to first.
Okay. Yeah. So then you would encounter her first. She's walking along the side of the road against the traffic. So you're oncoming, and she's stomping away from the car ahead of you. So yep,
Sure,
you can.
I'll stop and talk to her.
All right. Can I help you?
I was about to ask you the same thing. Looks like you're having a spot of trouble.
I don't think it's me that's having the spot of trouble. I think it's my husband.
Well, I would say you're probably both in it together. But if you're striking out on your own, don't let me stop you.
Hey, I wasn't the one who claimed to fix the car, and he's the one who claims that he always does. And yet here we are. And you hear from it from the distance, like, I don't know, you're like 150 feet off or something. Hey, what's going on? He's still at the car, but he's at least doing a cursory check-in, since it looks like she stopped and is talking. Have you gotten out of your car, or did you just like put the
No,
window down?
I'm still in the car. I probably
Okay.
haven't even stopped the engine yet.
Okay,
I'd
sure.
probably just yell out to him. Sounds like you're having trouble with your car and your wife. Miss, why don't you hop in? I'll take you back to your husband.
At
Maybe
least
we
the
can,
car I know how to
get you both in
fix.
trouble.
And she just looks back, huff, and go back to him? You might as well just take me into town. He can walk.
Well, I think-
He knows where we live.
Ma'am, I'm not going to step in between whatever's going on with you and your husband. But if you two needs a ride back into town, I think I'm probably your best bet.
All right. Tell you what. Let's go for a charm here. As you're coming across as helpful, you want to offer them this service, clearly out of the goodness of your heart. You're a very charming individual here.
Yeah, for some reason, even though I guess my charm is 50, that's all. Why isn't my charm better? It should be, I don't know. Well, let me click it. Oh, look, another failure.
Guys are not happy tonight.
I don't know why my charm is only 50, although I guess it's my best skill, so I guess that's just how it gets, how it is.
I appreciate it, but I think you're going to have better chances with my husband. Tell you what, I think I need to cool off like that engine. I'm going to stay right here, and if you want to help us by helping him first. Maybe you can talk some sense into him.
Suit yourself, ma'am. I won't go far. I'll give her a tip of the hat and drive up the next 100 feet to where
Yeah.
the car is.
So she watches you, not like skeptically, but it's clear that she's still very grumpy. And so she just sort of like squats down at the side of the road with a bit of a hump and is just doing whatever. So you pull up older, it's cars maybe getting on 10 years old, pretty healthy life considering, cars at the time. Maybe your Studebaker can hold up a little bit longer, or at least can actually make it to a nice venerable 10. But man, if this car's had 10, if it's even been approaching 10, it's had a rough time of it. Not quite a rust bucket, certainly more in the jalopy style of car that you have some passing familiarity with. There's something rising up out of the engine, and he's kind of poking around and looking at what's going on here. Did she drive you off too? He looks around as you're pulling up.
Well, I point at the car. Technically, I drove myself off, but I think she might have had a hand in it.
Yeah, there just ain't no winning. Are you good with this stuff? Or at least...
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's why I always pay for it. What's that? What do you need?
What? Oh. Are you good with engines?
Not really. I can drive a little bit, but fixing them, it's not my specialty. But I might be able to help you find somebody who can, or take you back to town. I just stopped at a what's the 1920s word? Sorry. I just stopped at a filling station. They got a service station. They got mechanics and all there. They might even be able to give you a tow if that's what you need.
Yeah, it's an option. I know Jake, he works at the garage there at the service station. Frankly, I don't want to hear it from him.
No, Jake, I just talked to him. He's a nice feller.
I thought I'd get more use out of this car. Turns out I was sold a bill of goods. This thing ain't been nothing but a pile of trouble.
Sorry to hear that. How long have you had it?
Oh, got it in the summertime. So only a couple months.
A couple of months. Well,
Yeah, it was
maybe
it was
you should turn
used,
it into
but
cash. There's a lot of market for cars like this, you know.
cash for clunkers? That'd never happen.
Well, I hadn't heard anything. Is that one of them Roosevelt's new ideas that he's come up with?
Oh, don't even get me started on him. Sassarassa, he just goes into a line of things.
Well, I like you, man. We might have something in common. My name's Henry. What's yours?
Oh, Henry. My name's Eric.
Good to meet you, Eric. So, yeah, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to help you fix your car, but if you need a ride or something like that, maybe I can help you with that, or I can, you know, and if you like, maybe I can help you sell your car, turn it back into cash, and maybe get yourself a nice horse.
Tell you what. Go ahead and roll charm again with a bonus. And you've made a good impression. This is just maybe a sweeter impression.
Okay, there's the failure.
Yep.
Seems, is it always like this? Is it always nothing but failure? I don't know. Let's try the bonus. Oh, well, that's a good one.
Hey, all right. Very good.
So can I turn that 79 into a 19? Is that how this works?
Yep.
Yes.
That's exactly how it works.
Okay. Well, then that's what I'll do.
Plus, it means you didn't just get
You can finish it unless your
success.
microphone cut out.
sorry, yeah, you didn't just get a success. You got a hard success.
As that was
Because half is 25 and a fifth is too low. A fifth, I think, is 10. So,
Yeah,
but a
so
half
this would
is
be
a
19.
hard success.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
It's
but it
usually
sounds
better
good.
than a regular. Yeah.
He says, Henry, you know what? I like you. You talk reason, you talk sense, you're willing to help a guy out in need. That's awfully Christian of you. And so he walks over, and he even admires your cars. Like, certainly you have good taste in cars, too.
Appreciate that.
Eric goes over, and like, as he's looking, he like puts a hand on the hood. It's kind of like is looking around. He leaves a greasy handprint on your on the hood of your Studebaker here.
I'm gonna
sorry,
wince, but not say anything to him.
Hold on. Tui. He gets his handkerchief out and polishes up with good as new. Hey, Elizabeth, come on. He's gonna give us a ride. I talked him into it. Just roll with it, please. Help me out.
I'll
He's
just
a
give
good-
him a little salute.
He's a good guy. He's gonna get us back there. Is he gonna take us to see Jake? No. Stop. I know your opinion of Jake. No. And she starts tromping back to the car here.
Okay. Well, I'll once Eric gets in, I'll go ahead and back up, so she doesn't.
Okay. So the two of them, the two of them get in. You do get a. She's still tense towards her husband, but you do at least get a begrudging thank you. But she's in the foulest of moods, all the same. Oh yeah. So you heading up the road? I know a place in Supply that we can go from there.
You got it, man. That's where I was headed, actually. Jake told me about they're having some kind of a fundraiser.
Oh yeah, at the Looney Bin. Yes. In fact, there's someone there I could talk to. You know, they have some I don't know, cars or something for the people that are there, some special stuff. Anyway, a guy there who's not Jake. He says, looking back at his wife. I'm gonna have him come in. Anyway, yeah. You take me in there. If there's anything you want to know, hey, let me know, because I do know people around town. Yeah, well, I could tell you the type of people around town that he knows. But you have an amicable local in your car, and at least his wife is neutral towards you, if not hostile towards her husband. And you have a little bit of a drive ahead of you. While you're driving, is there anything in particular you'd like to bring up, or say, or do?
Well, I guess the thing that I would want to ask him about is, and so this is a nice enclosed sedan car, so we'll be able to hear each other. So it would be, I would probably want to just ask him, who's the big cheese at the loony bin? Who's organizing the whole shindig, and who are the movers and shakers in this 400-person town?
Oh, well. There's a couple of the doctors, one of the directors at the place, whatever it's called, I think like the Western Hospital, or whatever, it's the loony bin. It's where they send the crazies and, well, the people off the reservation, if you get what I'm saying. And I mean that in both ways. Man, I tell you, a lot of tension going on. It's tough. But if you're looking for a place to eat, he gives his entire tone is casual and very earthy. He tells you about the local diner. They have really good sandwiches there. He'll give you a couple names of some people in town who, given the way he carries himself and speaks, at least he thinks they're important. Or at least he's happy to know a name of someone who might be like middle management. But he is not, he's not dropping the names necessarily. But that might be more for just him. Like his distance.
Just the people that he knows.
Yeah, just the people he knows. But he'll be happy to talk him up and all that. But yeah, so
sounds perfect.
During his talk, and he's just going on and on about his connections. You can overhear Elizabeth in the back, and as she's looking out the window, her mood has certainly changed. She doesn't have that kind of glare and is fuming. She's been just watching out the window as the corn stalks and a lot of other things, a lot of the seasonal dead and dying plants and everything are passing by still. She just keeps saying, like, it ain't right. This ain't natural.
You mean the weather, miss? I know it's definitely very unusual.
Oh, it ain't just that. I mean, yeah, those storms. But what we're asked to do, keeping crops out like this, I don't know. My grandmother is from the old world, one of them countries, and
Scotland?
Yeah, that might be the one. Scotland's the one with the Saint Scott or something, like drove out all the bats or something.
No, not exactly, but sure, why not? Let's go.
Well,
maybe
anyway,
that's just a legend I haven't heard.
God-fearing Christian nation, as it were. But that being said, I don't know. There's some old stuff that they talk about, keeping crops out in the field around this time of year. All that spooky stuff, ungodly things. I don't know. Never sat right with me, and now seeing things not quite as tended to in the fields, apparently to keep the dust from blowing, but that didn't stop things last year from happening. Oh, Black Sunday, they called it. I don't know. I think it's a curse. It's some sort of Injun curse on us for, taking their land or doing something. Or heck, it could even be a result of them warring with each other. But whatever's happening, it's catching simple folk like us up in it. I don't like it.
Just kind of nodding my head. Yeah, I never did go in for them superstitions, but I don't know. I don't know what's certainly just gesturing to the sky. I'm sure it's gray and horrible looking. Certainly something's going on. Don't know what causes it myself. That's not my area of expertise.
Yeah. Well, it's always one thing or another. I would have said damn back there, but you're not supposed to say those sort of... Well, I just said it. Well, anyway. It's always one damn thing or another. If I said it once, I'll say it twice. What's the worst that can happen, right?
Lightning strike. Lightning strike.
She actually, looks up and out the window. Don't be talking about that stuff now, look. Just... I believe in God and all, but... I think there's just sometimes things that are... ungodly. Anyway, enough. I'm sorry. What was your name again?
Henry.
Henry. I'm sorry that I was steaming like a radiator back there. It's just tough, you know. Things happening everywhere. People ain't got no money. People losing their faith. Just dark times, you know.
Yeah, I do. I know it's tough for everybody. People got to stick together. Help each other out.
With at least the topic brought up, why don't you roll in a cult to see if, I don't know, just anything is jarred loose in your brain. All right.
I have of marginal value in a cult.
It's not like you're gonna, hit a raccoon or anything. You're fine. So during that time, your mind does, you flick into the dabblings that you have from, all of your previous dabbles in life. And nothing in particular is coming to mind. Though, when you make up your mind that, she didn't quite add to your repertoire, you swear for a moment, also on the side of the road, not quite a fuming lady who's walking away from a broken down jalopy, but there's maybe a young woman, dark hair, tan skin, a simple red dress, but boy does it stand out on a bleak October day like this. And by the time you do a double take, you don't catch her. She's not in a mirror.
Either of you see that woman by the side of the road? Looked like she might be an Indian, maybe a mulatto.
No, can't say I did. I mean, I know plenty. If you want to get to know them, I can introduce you to some. Got some neighbors just a mile down the road, as close as we could be, but no,
I just thought I saw someone.
Oh,
Guess not. Could have been a trick of the light, I suppose.
Not that I should be, looking at women anyway. Isn't that right, Elizabeth? And she says, damn right. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But no, I didn't see anyone. What, I don't know. Do I know her? What did she look like? You said. Was she wearing something? Did she have a hat on?
Yeah, red dress, dark skin. Not that dark, just a little bit.
No? I don't think it would have been Katie. She got a new dress. I don't think it was red though. No. It weren't red. It weren't red. Maybe more of an orange. No. No, I'm. If you saw them, but hey, you know, a lot of those people, they've been doing really well for themselves. Oh, boy, would that we were one of them. Man, you hear about the riches they've fallen into? Oil everywhere. Oh, some bigwigs out in Cleveland at Standard Oil are going to be all up, are going to be just so happy about it if they ain't already moved in. Now, Elizabeth, you know that that's caused a confrontation with the, well, the thing that happened. I won't
Did you
speak
say
it
that
into
you know some new money oil folk?
Oh, not just oil. Plenty of that, too. There's all sorts of riches. Though it's more in the east. But a lot of them's been making their way out here, building houses, driving cars, you know, doing things like, well, they are recognized as
Why would somebody with money out east come here?
Well, I don't know. Maybe they know something that we don't. Honestly, it's always been kind of a hope that, you know, the land that we have might end up being fruitful, but from down below. I wouldn't mind not having to, you know, pick and plant. And Eric says, well, you know, in all honesty, too, I wouldn't mind taking a buyout, but, ooh, for sure, that kind of money brings some pretty savage behavior. In fact, even the civilized tribes talk about our way of life that they've been adopted through that money is bringing them a curse. So, I don't know. I guess I'd rather be cursed and be able to afford a car that works and, you know, a lot of other things. So
Kind of
as
just
you're
taking it all in, you know, listening to them.
the drive is otherwise, you know, light and conversational. He has you directed to a diner and asks to be dropped off. By the way, Timothy, I don't think I got. Do you know your car? No, the make and model of your car? You driving anything fancy, or is it just sort of more of a commoner?
It's more of a common sort of car.
Okay. Is there anything like notable? Anything that you did to decorate it, customize it, or does it really just blend in? It doesn't have to stand out nor blend in. It's a good prompt.
No.
Just in case.
The only thing that might be a little odd about it is it's teal.
Ooh, that definitely will stand out like a sore thumb. All right. So, Henry, yep, you pull up. Man, of all things, there is a teal car in this little country diner's parking lot. And even the two locals, I mean, for locals, they probably live like, you know, 20 miles down the road, but their closest neighbor's a mile away too. So yeah, that might catch your eye. You know, it's not a bad looking car. It's not a high performance one, but it certainly stands out that way. But Eric and Elizabeth both say, Henry, you know what? You're not a bad fella. If you need something while you're here, there's not too much I could do besides tell you, I don't know. There's a younger doctor at the asylum there that, well, maybe you'd want to talk to him. He seems a lot more personable than some of the others. If you're looking to, you know, help him do some fundraising or something, but.
Oh, I sure am. Love to help the needy. By needy, I mean myself.
I'm sorry, what was that? No. Okay, yeah, so they'll bid you farewell and make their way into. They're going to make their way into the diner because they wanted to stop there first. He knows someone at the asylum, but they'll get there. There's a phone call that he wants to make, and the diner actually has a phone.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess certainly the car would attract my attention. Definitely want to take a look at that.
In-state plates.
You don't see teal all that frequently in this day and age.
I don't know. Maybe it's someone from the state. A lot of state money's being poured out here. Someone from a big city or something. But from there, if you wanted to make your way out to the hospital, you certainly can. Otherwise, the day is yours. You can go into the diner if you want to stop in the diner.
I'll stop in, sit at the bar, have a quick, not an alcoholic drink, even if they would have one, but maybe just a sandwich and a glass of orange juice.
All right. Then, if this brings Henry and Timothy into conversation, not that it has to, but both of you are there at a similar time, then that can be something you two talk about. So while you're at the diner, I will shift us over to the asylum. You're going to end up there anyway, Henry, so, it's just I'm just 2 steps ahead of you while you're eating a sandwich and
of course,
possibly meeting Timothy. So, we are at the Western Oklahoma Hospital, a previous military fort known as Camp Supply. In its way, a part of history. Very soon, was given to the state by the federal government after becoming a state. And sure, people might have talked about the federal government, dumping a dilapidated fort on the state and saying, "Here you go, here's a nice gift." But at least Oklahoma was nice enough to pour some money into it. And of all things, and in all places, well, depending on how optimistic or pessimistic you are, the Western Oklahoma Hospital is a very out-of-the-way place to send a lot of out-of-the-way people. And so it's here that, Patrick, I don't know if we're on a first-name basis, at least not yet. So perhaps I should, refer to you by your professional title as, you went to school, you earned it, and so here we are going to meet Dr. Patrick Crane, and Dr. Crane, what's going on right now? It's the daytime. Is this normally your shift? Is it not? Are you helping to set things up out in the courtyard for the fundraiser party that's going on right now? What's happening?
We're actually doing some arts and crafts in the day room, trying to make some decorations for the party later tonight.
Okay. While there are certainly patients here that would not be allowed to be trusted with scissors, I'm going to presume that you're working with the ones that are more or less trusted with scissors.
Yes. Margaret, put that down. No, that does not go in there.
There is some directed guidance as well that you're going to have to be giving. There is certainly a mix. I would say that the people who are here in the hospital are very varied. And you have many slices of life from all around Oklahoma, since they've been put here after being found guilty of something, or incompetent of something, or incompetent but guilty, all the same. Or, of course, you're going to get people who also say that I shouldn't be here. And I don't know, Dr. Crane, let's take a step back from the immediacy. What led you into psychology, or at least this branch of medicine that you practice? And what led you out here to the Western Oklahoma Hospital?
Well, I studied in Emporia up in Kansas, and there was talk of a hospital opening up towards the border, but it hasn't quite opened up yet. So the closest that was in this specialty was down here in Supply. It's just always been an interest of mine, the way the mind works, and understanding why we do what we do.
Yeah. It's a fascinating thing. And you know, with all the hustle and bustle that Oklahoma's seen in its very rapid growth, you know, even since the days that it was the Indian Territory, before it was, you know, ratified as a state, signed into it by none other than Theodore Roosevelt himself. There's a lot of different people here who think a lot of different ways, even beyond the special circumstances that brought them here. You have, and while there's smaller tribes, there's at least the 5 civilized tribes, as they're called in the state. And each of them has their own beliefs that are not really even uniform to the others. And then we get into the strife of all the people who've come to settle here. The wake of the Civil War, and you know, the fact that there's all sort of things that have gone on. There's but also at the same time, while there's all that strife, there's also a lot of opportunity. You go up to the northeast where all the mines are, and where there's many, not that there's other ones that aren't being speculated or built. A lot of oil, a lot of minerals up there. That's drawing people all the way from China coming in. Maybe descendants of people who built the railroads. You know, bringing in people from all over that you know, get along, or at least get along as long as they're being paid. It's just, you tend to see out in the West here in the hospital more of the problems and the clashes than you do the ruckus nights at the bar and the camaraderie between people who many would consider shouldn't be getting along otherwise, but here they are doing so. It's a very volatile state in that regard. Protests against the draft for World War I. A lot of like labor movements, things like that. I don't know. It's something that really gets people riled up living in Oklahoma. But I'm sorry. That's a lot of here and there. Let's continue to meet you a little bit more. Is working with them in the craft, this is a special thing that you're doing? Is this are you also conducting an observation or an experiment? Talk to us a little bit more.
There's a couple of individuals here that I want to see how they are able to interact. We've been working on some coping skills and some other methodologies to be able to maybe get them reintroduced to society, and hopefully, you know, it starts with crafts and can maybe lead to bigger and better things.
Or you're seeking more of a rehabilitation, more than maybe just a managed decline, or just saying, well, they're lost to society, so we'll, you know.
Yep, that I very much believe that almost anyone can be, if not rehabilitated, at least, you know, that we can, you know, find the good in them, find a way to help them be productive.
Well, that's right and proper of you there, Doctor. Well, I'm sorry. I completely. Anyway, it's nice of you, Doctor. You are a learned man, and you seek to rehabilitate people. Well, this won't happen for some time, and it wouldn't happen here. I happen to have some knowledge of the future, being a keeper of lore. That in a far-off prison known as Shawshank, there's going to be a man who brings about a library, because he thinks that can help rehabilitate people. And maybe there's a chance of that as well here for you, Dr. Crane, since you are a man of rehabilitation. You are a man of books and wanting to help people. And study as well. Tell you what, this is not necessarily a penalty on a failure, but you are pretty adept at library use. So go ahead and roll library use, and you do have a bonus here. This is kind of something that was going on in the background that could set up for the present or the future. But just how successful have you been at bringing in books and trying to vary it up for the different patients that are here?
Yep.
Well, the name of the game is Lady in Red, and we're seeing a lot of red, so this is thematic.
Yes, we are. But if you said with the bonus, that would be a 46, which is a success.
That is a success. All right. So I will. I will say that you've done a decent job. You've brought in a, well, for as best as you could get out here, a breadth of books. Most of it would probably be, Western literature. A lot of things that people have brought in from the Eastern Seaboard, and older tales. Some of the people here have more of a childlike mind, so fairy tales and storybooks to entertain them. Maybe a learning lesson, because some of those grim tales are really grim, and there has been a couple instances where ideas got into people's heads, and it didn't turn out so well.
Yeah, but Delia and that Goldilocks story, that's something I don't ever want to relive.
But man, if just someone out there could take a story like Snow White and just sort of tone it down a little bit and make it really like family friendly, and not maybe in a visual format, because not all the patients here can read. But I don't know, that'd be cool. I bet whoever did that would be like a billionaire and just live on in history. But anyway, nothing like that exists. So, reading stories like Snow White and other fairy tales, reading things even from other hospitals that you've been able to work with. In fact, I hear on the Eastern Seaboard there's a very highly lauded institution known as Arkham, and they have some very fascinating papers. And you've been able to get your hands on a couple of the books that the doctors there have written. I'll leave your opinion about some of the speculations. Some of it delves into maybe less the science and more the, could someone who's been certified insane actually be possessed? And so some of their research is getting into, I don't know, some, whatever, East Coast mentality. Yeah, the Roaring 20s were a time of seances and, sort of a revival in occult stuff. And you know what? If you can write a paper and be paid for it, maybe the doctors out at Arkham, they found their niche and they're finding a source of funding. So, But yeah, you probably have a tome or two from that venerable asylum. And let's see. So as you're tending this, and you're telling Margaret you got to put that back on, as she loves not having whatever that thing is on, though she should. Who is your favorite nurse, Doctor?
I would have to say that would be Nurse Emily.
Ah, Nurse Emily. All right. She comes up to you and is she allowed to call you Patrick, or like, hey, only in private, not in front of the patients?
Yeah, pretty much. That in private's okay, but in front of the patients, it's doctor.
Okay. So she comes up and says, Pat, Dr. Crane, and some of the people there cutting say, she called him Pa. And so they're giggling, but otherwise they're doing their thing. Dr. Crane, I needed some advice here. We're getting things set up for the fundraiser, and me and a couple of the other nurses, we're trying to decorate, and we're not sure. Well, I know we've had incidents in the past of some of them making fantasy reality, and I want your approval on the decorations to make sure that everything is going to be okay, or at least manageable.
Not a problem. I can take a look.
All right, thank you. So if you'll follow me, we're getting things set out in the front lawn. And she says that another nurse is on the way and can handle the paper cutting.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so the two of you are walking through. One of the patients, though, depending on the staff, they'll have different words other than patient for them, is apparently having an episode. It's like some kind of a psychotic episode, is screaming and banging in his room.
I definitely would have like my doctor bag that is going to have some of the medicines. We should probably deal with that before we go, and then we can head out. Go into the room.
You rush over, and there's an orderly who's outside. He only just started. This orderly seems to know the protocol, like the questions you'd ask upon arriving. He only just started. He's seeing things again, I guess. Is trying to get out. Says that he can't breathe. It's whatever afflicted him. I think he was caught up in that really bad dust storm last year, or something. Because that's all he seems to talk about. And you're hearing that from inside, like, can't breathe, and just going, like, screaming.
I would go into the room and position myself in a way that, like, I get down on his level, look him in the eye, but back far enough if he is to, like, go off and do anything, I'm not gonna get hurt. I just look at him and, Joe, look at me. Deep breaths. In, out.
That's how the
dust.
That's how it gets in.
There is no dust.
It's coming
here
for us, for the bad things that we've done. It's for the things that we've said, and the people that have died.
We have filters over there. There are sheets to keep the dust from getting in here. You are safe. Deep breaths. In. Out.
for this kind of a treatment and understanding and like trying to de-escalate the situation, go ahead and roll a psychoanalysis. Very good. All right, hard success with that 15. Yeah, this. There we go.
First green.
It's the first just naturally, naturally derived one here. You're able to get him to bodily calm down through the breathing. There's certainly a wildness in his eyes. And for a moment, maybe it's because that he's like, he's kicking up dust and everything. Like there's almost like a dust pattern, like a dust look in his eyes, as he's like he's coming down from it, but he's still wild. No, it's gonna happen. It keeps getting worse. It's punishment. We're being punished. She's all gonna do it. She's all gonna do us in. It's the spirit. It can't be anything else. You know who I am talking about. Just because she's one of the good ones, one of the nice ones that get to cut with scissors, doesn't mean you get to deny me what I saw and what I know about her. She's the one.
One that what?
It's Fawn I'm talking about. You know that too, Doctor. She's cursed. She's the one behind everything. You don't listen to me. Maybe you have a pure soul and the dust won't get you. I know better. And I'm not the only one who does either, but they won't tell you because they know what happens when they tell you things.
I mean, you get the help that you need.
Now, for you, Dr. Crane, the woman he's referring to, Fawn, is a patient here, but she might actually be the one who almost doesn't need to be here. Or there's nothing she's done overtly, other than she came here as a child, not quite like not like a raised by wolves feral child, but someone who just was taken in by an adoptive family who almost found her like a stray. Couldn't handle her anymore. And she came here. She's actually, well, she's half Indian. Though which tribe, she doesn't know, and it's speculated. You've heard the names of each of the 5 tribes here. But she was found a little further away originally, in a town called Ames. Kind of a small town like this. It's known for having a railroad stop. There you go. She was sent here. She's not really problematic, but she doesn't really have another place. So she was classified as being simple-minded and was sent here. You know her as a young lady, dark, beautiful hair, brown eyes, just that eternal tan look from her lineage. And she loves singing. She dances. She can speak. So she might be simple in some ways, but I mean, she'll never achieve your level of sophistication, Doctor, but
She can at least be trusted with scissors.
she absolutely can be trusted with scissors. Joe, however, cannot. And yet Joe is telling you that Fawn is apparently going to kill everyone. So between the two of them, I can imagine like 51-49. Who you think it would be first?
Yeah. Well, Joe, I can see it starting to escalate a little more, and Joe, we will keep an eye on her. Nurse Emily, some vitamin H, please. And it's in my bag.
Oh, yes. Certainly, I'll administer it, and, well, I hope it'll work. Oh, if it was, do you have, like, a rival doctor? Like, someone maybe you don't get along with philosophically, or just is from a different medical age than you?
Yeah, Dr. Warburton.
Okay. Dr. Warburton is the type who would just say, put him in a straitjacket and give him an enema. You at least want to, administer some kind of, remedy here, rather than punitive controlling measures. So you and Dr. Warburton most likely are, unfortunately though, of course, he is the senior doctor at the hospital. So you do what you can within that realm under his purview, but you know what? He's not here right now. He's probably in town. In fact, you know what? I think he's on lunch. He's at the local diner right now. So you can administer that and go outside. Now, when you do get outside, there are some decorations. And just as with the library that was brought in, and a lot of the stories that the people here enjoy, whether it's because it's part of their ancestry from Europe, or it's meant as a way to tell our stories to the people here from the various tribes that have been sent. The theme of the Halloween party are tricks of the fairies, and so the state has furnished you all, like, you have a telephone, you have a telegraph, even though that's not quite used as much anymore, but it's there. There's certainly electricity. There's even a couple vehicles and things here. So you have the electricity, and you also have, like, the spare bulbs that you could put up. It's like a fairy garden. There's a lot of paper mache stuff that's been made. And, getting into the spirit, especially because she says, well, Nurse Emily says, well, it caters to the spirits that the other people believe in, and then for the other people, it is their fairy tales. It's the old legends of the old world. Don't leave your crops in the fields after Halloween, because then it becomes the fays. But at the same time, there's just a lot of really nice stuff too, but also kind of dark, and that's kind of where we need your observations. And she's going to take you around to the different, like, decoration stations, and there's some different scenes of, like, the spindle piercing the finger. There's some goblins, some, like, little goblins that have been set out. There's the witch eating Hansel and Gretel. Does that one stay or go? Okay.
No, that one's going.
All right.
On the needle, make sure don't show the blood. Just prick the finger, but don't show the blood. People get squeamish. I don't want to be cleaning up on it.
That might give them ideas too. Yeah. All right.
We might try something else.
So you're going around. You're like, okay, yeah. So at least take the blood off the needle of the finger prick. Probably don't have a witch consuming children.
Yeah. Goblins are okay.
The goblins, and so okay, yeah. And there's some other things too. And she says, well, we have that anatomical skeleton in the one office there. Like, we could probably set that out too. You think it'd be fun if we set it at a bench like it was drinking tea?
Maybe, yeah.
All right. What about the brains in the jars?
There's gonna be a lot of people here of all color and different echelons. We should probably leave those where they are.
Do you just want me to carry out the sane brains in the jars and leave the insane ones behind?
I think we should just not do brains.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not taking that personally or anything, but, okay. It seemed...
I can tell I've hurt your feelings, and I'm sorry.
You don't need to roll psychology to understand that, yeah, that was probably Nurse Emily's idea, to set out the brains and the skeleton at the table like they're all drinking tea and being normal. Okay, so you are you're giving some guidance. Now, of course, the art style and what might be medically or culturally appropriate for the 1930s is probably different than what we here in 100 years later might consider to be. I'm sure there's going to be some mildly entertaining and grotesque displays that are just like, oh, yeah, that's like the whatever. That was like the dead cat we found on the grounds that one of the patients killed, but we just sort of boiled it to look at the bones and try and teach people the bone structure. So we'll just set that out because it's educational too. Okay, so anyway, you go and do that, and as you turn to walk back, Fawn is right there. But you didn't hear her come up, but I don't know. She's often like that. She's the type of young lady, even as a kid. This is probably why people thought she was a wild child. Just like almost never wears shoes. But there she is. You're probably taller than her by a foot or so. She's of indeterminate age, so just young lady always seems to fit. And she's wearing that simple red dress that she really likes to wear. Hi, she says.
Fawn, you were supposed to leave the scissors inside.
Oh, I'm sorry, Doctor.
It's okay. I just, in case anyone else happens to here, just give them to me.
Oh, she turns around and hands them to you. Loops first, not the blade.
Yeah. And I'll just stick them in my bag.
Well, now that you're holding that, I can do this. And she's kind of like skips around. And she does like some beautiful little twirls. While it's not a ballroom gown by any means, like the dress is a nicety that she gets to wear because she is very good. And some people in the hospital like see her as, well, she doesn't really have anyone else, so she's kind of like a pet. No one calls her a pet, but that's kind of how she's treated. But she gets a little nicer dress, so she'll do a twirl. It'll sort of like flare out a little bit, and she just kind of goes around happy. She's reciting the names of the storybook characters that she loved to read, yeah. So she's having a good time. She's making comments on things, yeah.
Hey, Fawn, I have a question. Nurse Emily was asking for some advice on some of the decorations. Would it be weird to have brains out here with the skeleton?
I think brains are beautiful. That's where we have all of our ideas.
All right, you've convinced me. Let's go tell Emily.
Fawn seems very proud of herself. Like bald fists on her hips, sort of like, well, superheroes don't exist yet, so just sort of like a bold pose. Probably like some sort of like World War I poster or something. And she said, I'm happy to help. I want people to be better too, Doctor. And I think that might set a good example. A lot of these are words that, I mean, you've definitely said maybe she's picked up on, but man, does she walk that line of, is she just mimicking it or does she understand it? There's always something, like, fawn is... There's always, like, one thing you think you understand, and then you don't. And there's always just something out of style. But maybe that's part of her charm. In fact, I'll go get the brains. Nurse Emily, can I help you? Of course, dear. Can you... For that, can you please put shoes on? Because if one of the brains drops, that glass is going to shatter. Fine. I'll put shoes on because I want a fairy party too.
It's for the best.
So those two walk off, and make a listen for me, Doc. Make a listen. Okay. They're talking about something. And Nurse Emily's kind of giving her that, that's nice to hear kind of a thing. But yeah, so it looks like everything's ready for the fundraiser. How are you going to dress up for it, by the way? Obviously, your staff, you need to look the part.
Yeah, I will. I definitely have a fairly nice penguin suit. I will dress accordingly.
As a penguin?
No, in a tuxedo.
Oh, that's very fancy for a Halloween party outdoors at a mental institution.
True.
But that could be your costume, so anything goes.
Yeah.
So if that's what you want, that's absolutely what you can have.
Nice and charming. So.
All right. You expect a good turnout. Invitations were sent to a lot of important people. The invitation was sent to the governor. The governor's probably not going to be here, but an adjunct from, the office. So a lot of important people are going to send their secretaries here. You still got to put on a good show. You still got to schmooze them up, wine and dine them, show them that, hey, the facility's going well, but we need more money for research, especially, I don't know, maybe you go and you practice your rehabilitation speech, and not just we need more jars for more brains, or something like what Dr. Warburton might want. You're going to get ready because you're probably going to have to... You're going to have a competition of ideas among the donors and the influencers that are here. So, I will leave you to prepare, to practice your speech and to get dressed. Of course, Timothy, Henry, and apparently Dr. Warburton was at the diner as well. Now, how any of those paths cross, we'll make an allowance for it. And maybe another path will cross. We'll get to that. But before any talk of an asylum or a diner, there is a private investigator in town. And we find this private investigator, who goes by the name, well, I don't know if she has any sort of fancy nickname or a degree or a title, but we have Claudia O'Neill. Who is in her office doing what? And can you describe your office?
Well, now, it's a little less like what you picture when you hear the word office, and more like what you would picture if you hear the word broom closet. I don't quite have a lot of money, and the last job I had, well, they booted me out for reasons. Let's just say we didn't part on good terms, And so I have to make a living now using what skills and know-how I have to investigate things for people.
You've certainly been able to
And
find a
with
living
my-
out this way. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I've got some mementos of my time before job. Probably two of the most expensive things I own are my car. It's a 1932 Ford Model B. And my trusty camera. It is a... One second. Yeah. It's a Kodiak folding #1 camera.
You're probably the only
Which
person in
means
town with
that-
something like this.
Yeah, it means that it is portable, which is, I wouldn't say it's exactly new in 1930, but most professional photographers still use, the tripod and the, the panhandle flash type thing. Pretty industry standard, but I like to think that I am on the forefront of things. I'm always interested in learning about new technologies and sciences. I believe that they have the answers for a lot of things we're seeking. That traditional things like religion and other superstitions can't really explain properly. But anyway, those are my most expensive things. My quote-unquote office is kind of just a room that I've been renting in supply after I moved here. It gets some local business because, wherever there's people, there's always going to be crime. But again, we have to consider expectations here. When I say the word crime, you maybe think murders, robberies. No. Crime I'm talking about is things like adultery, kidnapping, but mostly of pets. The stuff that the police usually tend to overlook gets thrown my way, but once in a while I try to find a case that I can bite my teeth into and make my name with, because I come from a big family of law enforcement. Father was a cop, my brothers are cops, my grandfather was a cop, and I want to show them that I can, play with the big boys too.
It sounds like from the name O'Neill, you have some heritage from the old world.
Definitely.
From my understanding, there are many an Irish policemen out in the east. So it seems to be almost like a family trade, right?
It is. My family moved to Oklahoma City from Boston.
Now, even compared to supply, Oklahoma City is the big city, let alone Boston. Of course, everyone here thinks that people in Boston speak funny, but, you've heard both accents. And I'll leave you to decide which one might be funnier. Have you, being from the big city, has that helped the acceptance that people here have had? That here you are. I'm sorry if this is personal, Claudia. Are you unmarried?
I am unwed, yes.
Whew.
Well,
How's that going, being
contention with
unwed
my
and
mother.
working in law enforcement?
Well, it allows me to, do stakeouts, have long hours. My commitment is to my job, and I don't know if there will be time for a husband.
You know, I heard a rumor that recently the federal government started something called the FBI. Is that something that you might ever have an interest in joining? It's brand new, so I can't really talk to their merits.
Yeah.
But
I think I've heard of that. That's Hoover's boys, right?
yeah, it's a bit of a history, because it goes back into I think it was the BCI or something. But anyway, there's a bunch of new government programs out there, a lot of things going on and especially we came out of the age of prohibition and racketeering as well, so a lot of things happening. Though I'm sure you found you found your place as a detective, despite your unwed state. Otherwise, you wouldn't be practicing here. And I have to imagine that most of the people in supply, they might see you as odd or you stick out, but you still get business. You still get calls from the asylum to help out with some things. And there's people who come out here to see you from other places because your location offers discretion in certain private matters. And
That's true.
You may not get a lot of local work, except if one of the institutions needs you, because it's not like a farmer necessarily has a lot of the extra ways or means to hire a private eye. But you still get business from out of town, and there's plenty of people who are happy that you're able to keep a discreet demeanor about you. You keep things simple, humble.
Try to.
Well, with a lot of things that have been happening, of course, there's if something's not going on, there's always something to hear about, because if nothing else, you being stationed out in a rural area means people talk a lot and freely. You don't need
There's no better place to loosen lips than the local watering hole, which is where Claudia would sometimes spend her free time.
And of course, you're going to get a lot of farmer boys who are lined up to want to court you and to make an honest woman out of you. But man, they still provide a ton of information in their hopes of wooing you. And so now a lot of the scoops are like, Missy so-and-so, was, she wore a hat inside church on Sunday. And of course, that's pearl clutching. But, so you get a lot of stuff like that, and some other, two farmers that are getting into a dispute over a little wedge of land or something that is between their properties. There are people who may go missing, but sometimes come back, not all the time. But yeah, it's a comfortable niche, and those are the generalities upon which you could commonly pull over the course of anything you might want to research. I threw a couple things up here. Maybe these adorn your office, or if nothing else, there are things that have just, come up. Of course, there was the big reign of terror against the Osage Indians. There's a prominent white cattle rancher that was killing them off for their land and the oil that was producing. That was a whole thing. In fact, there was a whole big complicated where money was flowing and who owned what. There's a lot of political upheaval and societal upheaval as we are in the age of prohibition ending. Obviously, hey, and Claudia, you can vote. So there's that. A lot of things too, different riots and protests. Whatever this is, man, this is sensational. It might be a little bit outside of your norm, but Black Cloud engulfs Panhandle. Enemies of the Earth. Like, this is some far out stuff that is being put out there. It's not like a missing pet or you need to catch a picture of Farmer so and so holding hands with the wife of Farmer other and such, and what a scandal that is.
Might
great.
Be the same ones who are arguing over property.
There's something about coveting neighbors' stuff. I don't know. There might be some commandments or something written about those, but and yeah, a lot of especially in this day and age too. More and more places are printing, have access to printers. Even small towns might have a weekly dispatch that goes out, and of course, with that, you get a lot of political cartoons about the state of things, about social movements. In their own fun way, I guess they're reduxes of what's going on. And I'll tell you, man, over the past maybe 10 years, there's just octopi everywhere. Just clutching everything, affecting everything, causing prostitution. Of course, has both parties, coiled around it with corruption and bribery. Just everything is an octopus that's influencing something. It's an artistic trend. Yeah. It's an artistic trend. And it's not even just been the past 10 years per se, but with the ability to communicate even more, all kinds of cartoons and political statements are getting out there. And man, if there's ever a day when you can you don't even have to go to a bar or the diner to hear what people are talking about. Like, it's there for you. Oh, that's going to be a horrible day when that happens. When you just hear everyone's thoughts and all the inane tripe that pours out of everyone. Every goddamn little random bullshit thought that they have. Oh, pray that day doesn't come, Claudia. A little bird told me. It was a little bluebird, but a little bird told me that So you're currently, I don't know, reading the paper, or is there something you do, like some daily calisthenics, or are you out for lack of a better term, a patrol? I mean, you're not officially a police officer, but people will stop and they recognize you're an authority figure of some kind. Where do we find you? Are you still in your office, or do you want to head out?
We can only stay cooped up in this small square space for so long, or we need to direct, especially since I'm nursing injury from the line of duty.
Oh, what happened?
From my past job, I had taken a bullet wound, and there's a nasty scar that I don't like people see. But unfortunately, it means I have to sort of hobble on a walking cane for mobility, which people can see.
As you leave...
Oh,
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say, if I go out, I will be taking the cane and walking slowly.
If I may ask, and this can be just between you and me as the keeper here, as you leave your office, you pass by this safe that you have in it. What do you keep in the safe, Claudia? If anything.
That is a very good question. Can I keep the mystery by PMing you the answer?
Of course, if you wish.
Yes.
All right.
I think a little mystery is fun.
So you pass by the safe, and well, it's still there. But I don't know. You always seem to check, just in case. Even though it would be very obvious if someone walked into your office and tampered with it, because you're right there. It's not too big. Also, by the way, I don't know what happened in November of 35, but you might want to get a new calendar sometime, Claudia. It might have sentimental value for all I know, but, you know. Alright, so you head out, and, there's a couple that you know that is walking down the street here. Their names are Eric and Elizabeth. They're local, as much as local as, you know, like a ways away down the road. All those quaint country euphemisms. And they seem to be in a pretty good mood. Although Claudia, I mean, you hear a lot of the little things. Eric was really proud of that car that he bought over the summertime, and he's not driving it. And he also looks a little, well, I don't know. Let me see something here. Do you have any kind of, like, an examination or...
Not really.
I'll tell you what. Do this. Roll a first aid.
Yeah. Oh.
We'll be a little creative with this. Well.
Sounds good. Oh, shit.
There you go. You notice that Eric he's kind of cut up. His cheeks are kind of flushed. There's obvious, like, he has a bunch of, like, probably automotive liquids and some blood here and there. Maybe some scratched knuckles. You're able to look over his body and see that either he was in a fight, a scuffle, like, something definitely has him scratched up. And, you know, you got that extreme success. Elizabeth, like, she seems fine. She's a little flushed. Maybe it's because it's cold and sort of cheeks are kind of rosy. But yeah, you can tell that he's been through something kind of recently. It's not scarred, not even really old scabs, and he's still really dirty from whatever ended up happening. Otherwise, seemingly, in good shape. And he notices you. You give him a look. You're able to process a lot of it in very like quick time in your mind here. And bless his heart, Eric really tries, but some of his verbiage, or at least his demeanor, I don't know. Maybe we'll call him quaint. But he approaches you and, in just an absurd Irish accent, the same thing he says, no matter the time of day, anytime he sees you. Top of the morning to you, lassie. And his wife just
and the immediate autonomic response, like when the doctor taps you on the knee and your foot goes out, the immediate response from Claudia is to nudge him, tap him, gently with her walking cane, but sort of, as you would smack someone.
Elizabeth tells you thank you. It anyway, yeah, so she says thank you. And what? She's Irish, right? I think so, but do you have to say that every single time? Not all Irish people say that.
I'm American, Eric.
Well, of course, we're all American. Most are American. But, you know, we have our pasts.
I was born in this country.
Oh, well. Did you do anything for Halloween at least? And, like, Elizabeth, like,
Of course.
baps him again. Oh, see? Why are you hitting me? It's an old world holiday, right? Yeah, so you leave out a pumpkin, right?
Have you never celebrated Halloween before, Eric?
Well, let's... my family is of a particular denomination that disapproves of such things.
He's gonna, you know, grin a little bit and slowly hobble over to him and lean forward, and she's gonna say, you know, we put the souls of people like you in our pumpkins to light.
Well, hey, now... that's interesting, but also... Well, look, Elizabeth just kind of... She said some things earlier today. It's been a rough day, Claudia. She said some things earlier today and just about spirits and stuff, and... I don't know, I think normally I could laugh a little bit more, but... It's just been strange, you know?
Yeah, I noticed. You've been in some kind of traffic accident.
Oh,
And
yeah. Well, not quite an accident, but... The car broke. Again.
did it break down on top of you?
I was trying to fix it. Jake said that he'd teach me how to fix the car after he sold it to me. And I've learned a lot. I just didn't learn enough yet. And so I was out for a drive with my very lovely wife. She just, like, she smirks, but she also humps. And it broke, but hey, you know what? Good fortune, right? Good fortune. We were picked up by a kind stranger, and we're given a ride to the diner. You know, I was able to make a phone call, and well, we're walking to the hospital because I know a guy there who tends to their motor pool, and he'll help me fix it, so I don't have to.
You should get yourself checked up too. You don't want to get infected.
Oh well, hey, no. Ooh, wait, can you get infected with that stuff? I don't know. I mean, you know, crazy breeds crazy. I've definitely met families where it just seems to be passed on. Well, look, I know I could, you know, act up. I'm not a perfect man, but I don't need to go to the hospital quite for that reason, you know? Anyway, we got a lot of walking to do, unless, well, I don't suppose you can give us a ride, but if not, well, I guess we got some walking to do. Elizabeth says, Miss
Sure.
O'Neill, I would at least be happy to accept her.
I'll give you both a ride. Come on.
Roll a charm, and you will have a bonus to this as well. This is a very charming couple with all of their rough edges. Man, all that green.
We'll
Luck
take
of the
bonus,
Irish here,
'cause I might
Claudia.
get less 57. Yeah, Claudia is very charming. She is,
Okay.
like you said, quite the looker, even with her kind of physical injury.
Elizabeth notes that, and she murmurs some things under her breath that are, warning Eric to, keep his eyes where she can see them.
And his hands, I assume.
Yes, very much so. It's whether it's quaint and or tiring or some mix of the two. There is that reputation that you have among the guys in town. So anyway, they hop in and they're very amenable. She's not. Elizabeth is not suspicious of you. Any sort of suspicion is against her husband, and but they are happy to be kind of chatty here. So Claudia, you've done a good job of they don't need to be inebriated, but for as much as you want to talk to these two, they do live kind of out of town. He does know a lot of people who their reputations are okay. Not necessarily the mover and shakers, but also not necessarily the dregs. Is there anything in particular that you would like to know about that perhaps I can have them answer? It's sort of a freebie.
That is a good question. Well, they mentioned a stranger, which is in a town with the size of Supply. It means there might be someone new in town, and I'd be curious to know, more about this new person.
Yeah, really charming fellow. Henry, I believe his name was. I had a good interaction. He didn't. But he was nice. I was just upset. Yeah. Well, anyway. So yeah, guy out of town. I guess he was. He was going to the mental hospital there for the fundraiser. I guess he was going to help them raise funds or something. They're putting on a show or something, a play. I think it was a party. Oh yeah, I think it was a party. And so he was on his way there, and I guess he was feeling generous and charitable, and so he gave us a ride from where we broke down on the side of the road. Really, I don't remember the name of it. All I remember, what did he drive? It seemed really fancy. It was what was it? It was a potato oven, right? A potato oven? Yeah, a spud baker, right? And so there's some back and forth, but, you would hear that this stranger from out of town going to a fundraiser is driving a nicer car. And it makes sense. You've been in big cities, you've done security and stuff. A state-run facilities holding a fundraiser, there's probably going to be functionaries of some kind. So he's definitely not local. But yeah, he said that he saw someone on the side of the road. He might have just been driving for a while. I looked. Someone who would have stood out, but no, I didn't see that person. I didn't either. Maybe he's just not used to being out here. Claudia, you've lived out here long enough now. Sometimes there's just people on the side of the road, or you think you see people, and they duck back in, or who knows? So hopefully it doesn't have too bad of an impression, or that we weren't in danger of losing our lives because he was hallucinating while driving. But
I'm sure that's not the case.
While you're making your way out there, go ahead and roll a drive auto for me. Because as you're pulling up, speaking of people just kind of appearing out of nowhere, there's a young woman, maybe maybe late teens, no more than mid-20s. It's really hard to tell. But there's a young woman who just sort of like dances out into the middle of the road on your way up.
Oh man, if I fail, do I run her over?
We'll find out. Okay. This is catching you by surprise for sure. Not that you weren't paying attention, like you were lost in the words of the local yokels here. But she does seem to spring out. If you want, you can push this. But in this case, where I sort of offered the negotiation with Timothy, I will give you the option if you wish to hit her, then you can. Otherwise, if you really don't want to, you can push this roll, which would allow you to roll again, but there could be a penalty depending on what you're saying that you're doing.
Oh, definitely. I know you said pushing is usually over more time, but I think in this thing, pushing it will be slamming on the brake pedal and trying to, swerve the car in the opposite direction of the person.
Okay.
So if that helps you come up with a penalty,
absolutely, that's
fine.
Thank you.
Hopefully, I will pass and not cause too big of a problem. But... oh no.
Okay. So you do slam on the brakes. There's that moment of decision, like you're caught, and that moment to decide between swerving or braking passes, and now it is a must do. You do slam on the brakes, and everyone in the car just goes forward, and you don't like crush your skull, but you definitely bonk your head. You swear that even though you didn't want to, you should have hit her. But you also might be nursing a mild concussion as you come up and there's like a little trickle of blood from where you hit your forehead on the steering wheel. The two in the back are kind of similar. But for sure, you got a bonk on your head when you... But there's no one... Fortunately, there's no one in the road, laying down or standing up.
I'm not sure about 1920s slang, but I'm pretty sure Claudia's gonna say shit or something to that effect. And then she's gonna turn around and say, "Are you two okay?"
Oh, my head. I'm alright. Elizabeth, how are you? Oh, I got a headache. Oh, what happened?
I don't know. Someone jumped out in front of the car, and Claudia's going to just climb out of the door a little bit and look at the front, assuming that she might have hit someone and they are now on the ground and she can't see them from the car.
No, the front of the car, there's no blood nor dents. The worst case scenario is maybe from driving on the country roads, like the front of your car has some dust on it. And then, as you look, there's a pair of bare feet that you can see between the wheels. Like, as you're looking at the front, you look down from the front to the back, and you see some bare feet. But it would be, like, right behind your car.
I will approach slowly.
Then, very slowly, a young woman wearing a simple red dress looks over at you. Maybe you're the same height or so. Do you know how tall you are?
She's about average size, I guess. 5.
Okay. She'll still look up to you a little
7.
bit. Hi.
Did you just jump in front of my car?
I may have accidentally lost my way, and maybe your car lost its way too.
Dangerous to do that, you know. Where are your parents?
They are not here.
I can see that. Where
But
are they?
I do have people who watch over me, and they're that way. And she points in the she points to the hospital where you've been approaching.
All right, you get in the car. I'll take you to them.
Oh, do I have to? Can I walk?
Yeah. No.
Oh.
Too dangerous. What if another car comes by and you accidentally jump in front of it again?
Why would I do?
I don't know. Why did you do it to me?
Well, I don't know. Claudia, it's clear that maybe this person escaped, but you have. There's been a containment breach of some kind at the Western Hospital, and so you're working with someone here who's. You're traveling in a straight line. She's talking in circles.
Do I get the indication that she's not going to listen to me?
She's listening. She just seems to be kind of simple. Kind of an innocent approach. Kind of whimsical. Maybe acts or has a mentality younger than her appearance. Just slightly detached, but not bad. I'll get in.
Right, yeah. He opens the passenger door for her and kind of says, "We have a new guest."
The couple look over. Oh, hi. Not where we were. If she was on foot. Those two are kind of muttering to themselves. You can roll a listen on this and see if you catch anything that they're murmuring about as you're making your way back up to the hospital.
Definitely. Being nosy, no, I'm not good at it. Yeah.
Okay. You're not necessarily. You're out a little bit of whatever they're rumoring or speculating about. But more importantly, as you're pulling up, and as soon as you park, she's out the door with like a wee. There's a very important person that you know that you've probably done some work for, and that is Dr. Warburton of the institution. Seems like he's getting out of his car too, and is back at the hospital from probably a meal in town. Detective O'Neill. Good to see. In fact, this is quite a coincidence. I don't know if you meant it that way, but I could actually use some help. Do these
So
people
could
need
I.
help?
You-
Do they have to check in?
I think this one does, and she's gonna try to grab the girl.
Good luck. It's fine. It's Fawn, actually. She's a special case. Hopefully she didn't give you any trouble. But no, there's, thank you, I guess, for... I mean, honestly, it's like putting water in a sieve, but she keeps coming back, so... Anyway, forget about them. They got their own problems. He's talking very brusquely for a doctor, definitely has an old classical sterner approach to things. Anyway, we're having an event, and I mean, I can't imagine it's going to be anything too big, but I know that you have some experience in security operations, and frankly, we have some people coming into town that I would like to have a presence known. Now, I won't ask you to dress like a man, but if you do, that would be convenient. Either way, I'm still going to pay you. But I just want to make sure that there's a level of confidence here that the people who are visiting for this fundraiser for the hospital are going to be confident that they should give us their money, frankly, to continue our research.
Right. She's gonna sort of glance over to Eric and Elizabeth. And then she's gonna say, I'll consider it. I just want you to take a look at our wounds. And she'll sort of wipe some of the blood away from her forehead.
Yeah, look at that. Oh. Well, don't you worry. While I have plenty of experience in removing brains, I can't do so through a wound that size. I might even stitch it up for you. So yeah, tell you what. We can consider it a freebie for your consideration for dropping by. And, yeah, why don't you hop inside? I got some alcohol and some other things, and we can get you treated up. Sound good?
Definitely.
All right, I can't count on you to be here
And then
tonight,
we
right?
can talk.
He
of course,
presumes.
I'm coming for the party.
All right, well, good. It's settled. Let's get you fixed up. So the two others disperse. Claudia, on your way in, you've been to the institution here a few times to again do an odd job, or one of the lower security people might have wandered off and kind of not quite a lost pet, but also kind of a lost pet thing. So you've gotten some work through them before. General field. There is kind of a dashing younger doctor, a Dr. Crane, and you end up passing by him. Dr. Crane, you see a very lovely lady in town. Man, hard to believe she's unwed. And I mean, I'm not saying your attitudes towards her or that, but restating some generalities that at least people talk about. Hey, you got this nice young woman living out here, no husband, and she's trying to work, a classically a man's job, security and investigating, put herself in harm's way and all that. Again, you might have a different attitude, but I'm giving you the commoner's rumor and approach, what you might hear, or the biddies down at the nurse station, are talking about this or that. But anyway, Claudia, Patrick, Claudia, and Patrick, of course, Dr. Warburton is here. He says, you with me. I got to talk to her, and I'd like you to fix her up, please, in the med bay there. So as Dr. Crane is attending your head wound, you'll negotiate things through with Dr. Warburton. You'll be paid. You'll be paid a sum that seems very generous. But it does come with. Actually, you know what? Claudia, give me a psychology as you're talking to the head psychologist here.
Oh wow, okay.
Just like you're breaking down his tone of voice, the verbiage he's using. Okay.
I would like to spend my luck here to lower that to 59, I believe.
Thank you, because we haven't got to spend that yet, and now we can discuss that. So
Yes.
You're sitting there and you're being tended to by the one doctor. I mean, I don't know if he catches your eye or anything, but he's there, and you're trying to listen to this other very brusque, definitely older gentleman with different outlook on life from a different day of even the 1930s here. You're definitely being paid a fair sum. Arguably, you might even be paid more than a man would in a similar case. He's heavily stressing and asking that you don't show up as a woman. That he would prefer you to dress as a man, and that there's a.
It might seem. Sorry, I just want to interrupt for a second.
Go ahead.
It might seem like it's a bit insulting, but actually, Claudia usually dresses in a man suit. He very rarely actually wears women's dresses.
But he's like, I do you have a fake mustache? Do you have other things too? So you're getting very much like he wants a male presence. He's going to treat you as such, but also at the same time he's paying you this as a you're kind of also being shown off that we have this level, like we have security that is needed, an expert in security to make sure that the people are here, but we need your leverage for asking for funds and for passing the hat around as well. So there's ultimately an actual respect for what you do. It just seems that Dr. Warburton sees you as inconveniently having other properties that don't classically support what you're actually going to be doing for him here.
Is Dr. Warburton, is he bald or does he have hair?
Dr. Crane, what is your nemesis doctor here? Is he a balding older man? Does he have a full head of hair or something, or can you describe him? A little bit of both.
Very balding.
Toupee.
Yeah, very balding. Has like that skull cap thing almost going on.
Okay.
He's got just that little bit of hair.
Oh, right.
The
yeah,
halo of hair, but everything up here is bald. He's got like three little Homer Simpson hairs going over it.
I'll tell you what. That's how he normally would look. But this is a big, highfalutin event, and now that you're looking at him and not just this patient of yours, Dr. Crane, that you're attending a head wound, Dr. Warburton actually does seem to have a wig on, such that he appears to be, in fact, it's a very bold, like a very bold black color, like a very youthful, vigorant, or just a very vigorous look. Now that you look, you're like, full head of hair. So, and Claudia, you know that he normally wouldn't be wearing as such, but he is in a mood to try and put on a show for the donors. So, what are you doing with this information?
So Claudia says, if you cut me off a piece of that wig, I'm pretty sure I could wear it as a mustache. And no cost to either of us.
I'm going to excuse that is the head injury talking, and not you, Miss O'Neill. He's flustered. He's trying to speak with bravado through it, but you definitely you touched a sore point. Or at least you called him out on something.
Tell you what, Doctor, I will use this very generous payment you are giving me to hire some men to stand around and look like men. And I will work behind the scenes to support them. Does that sound fair?
I have men who are going to be here, but they're not you. You have a particular set of skills that might come in handy, as you've helped me to corral people who needed corralling before. And if it comes to it, you can also do a grand reveal. There's a whole bunch of progress stuff going on in Washington. I hear that there's women doing all sorts of things. You can vote, right? Congratulations.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
if anything, I'm asking you to, I don't know, demean yourself, look like a man, until it's convenient and you can reveal that you are not. And if you do so, and it is going to help us get the funding that we need from the people who want the song and dance that they want to be told and shown, I can even cut you in on it, because you helped us get it. I'm not an unfair man, Miss O'Neill. I may have sensibilities that I've been told are not so common anymore, but they are still sensibilities. And I'm the one who runs this place. And I want what's best for these inmates. Dr. Crane, you're welcome to roll your eyes if you want.
Very, very.
Yeah. I think Claudia is gonna turn to Patrick, Dr. Crane.
Oh, he's
gonna
facing
say-
you. He's tending your wound.
Yeah, but she's been facing Dr. Warburton.
Oh, kind of at an angle. Okay, yeah, you'll twist a little bit. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And she's gonna say, what do you have to say about this? Are you going to be receiving these new funds to care for patients?
I hope so. Anything we can do to enrich the lives of those less fortunate than us.
Yes. Grand and noble, Dr. Crane. Excellent words. Now, if you don't mind, I need to go and prepare. And I believe you, both of you, also have your work cut out for you. And he gets up and clomps off. So what we're gonna do here? Henry and Timothy had a chance to talk and whatever. Claudia and Patrick, you will have a chance to talk and such. And we're gonna get up and take a break, and we'll come back in about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll go over how you all have prepared or found yourself or whatever. And we apparently have a fundraiser to conduct tonight to see what's going to happen here. So let's get up. We'll take a little bit of time. Everyone get a drink, walk your dogs or something, and we'll be back to finish things out as we have our tricks of the fairies, our sort of fairy tale Halloween garden party at the Insane Asylum. And what can go wrong? See you soon, everyone.